Namaste, good evening, everyone. Greetings to all from Adyar, and welcome to today's session of
Namaste.
Mahatma Letters, the study conducted on a regular basis by the Indian section. And before we proceed to start our today's meeting, let us all come together with heart and mind to invoke that immutable universal principle. Oh, hidden life, vibrant in every atom. Oh, hidden light, shining in every creature. Oh, hidden love, embracing all in oneness. May all who feel themselves as one with thee know they are therefore one with every other. Namaste and welcome once again to today's session. And today we are going to study either today or maybe in the upcoming sessions the Mahatma letters number 117, 72, 92, 70, 105, 78, and 79 of Barker edition. And to conduct this study, we have with us Brother N C Krishna ji, and everyone is very well familiar with N C Krishna ji. He is a member of Hyderabad Lodge of Rayalaseema Theosophical Federation, and he is currently settled at Hyderabad. He is a qualified chartered accountant. He joined the Theosophical Society in the year 1966, and I think he's a third or fourth generation Theosophist. And he's a national lecturer of the Indian section, has been conducting study camps, giving lectures, talks to schools, youngsters, and senior Theosophists alike for a very, very long time. He's also the executive committee member of the Theosophical Society's Indian section. And so, without further ado, I request Brother N C Krishna to share with us the letters that he is going to take up for a study. I request Brother Krishna if you can just move your camera a little bit up so your full face, yeah, will come. Yeah, yes, much better, much better.
Okay, but I see a lot of people who have appeared. Is that okay? My voice is okay?
Yeah,
I'm
your
more
voice.
bothered about voice.
Yes, your
not
voice,
about my
voice
picture.
is okay and your full face is coming, so that's okay.
Okay, fine. I'm little bit more concerned about the voice than the countenance of the face of the person.
Okay.
Right. Thank you. Dear brothers, this evening I'm going to pick up letters which are allotted to me. Out of that, I would like to go according to the chronological period wise, I mean, October, November, December, like that. So I'm going to study 92 or help go through 92, 72, 70, and 78 of the letters which have appeared in the Barker's edition. I only have that book, so I go by that book, Barker edition. The other book, of course, written by Wick Jr. is also there. So I'll straight away go with the letter number 92. This is written by Master KH to Mr. A.P. Sinnett. This looks like a postscriptum of another letter. And this has been numbered as letter number 92. This was written in bright red ink, meaning perhaps that attention should be paid much more seriously than the ordinary letters which appeared perhaps in blue ink or black ink. This has come in red ink, and one single paper of 5 inches to 7 inches size. All these details are given in the book written by George E. Linton and Virginia Hanson, who together they have produced their book, The Guide on the Letters from the Masters of the Wisdom. They've in fact spent a lot of time at the London Museum. They have seen the originals and gave all that information which is required. And when you hear that information, when you read that information, and you superimpose that on the letter as such, we have a better understanding, better visualization of the letter, how it looked, perhaps in the hands of Mr. Sinnett. So this is the reason why I depend on that book quite regularly whenever I need to talk on the subject of the letters from the Masters of the Wisdom. So this book is very useful. And the paper, the authors have said, is canary yellow. That is light lemon yellow. And this is, I believe, the color of a bird which perhaps lives in Africa. And that canary bird, as it is called, has got yellow color on its body, not the wings, the body. So this is how the information goes as far as the physical description of the letter, which also helps us to understand in what method that letter was sent to Epicinet. They were all sent through another person. That another person would perhaps hand it over to Mr. Sinnett. That's how the whole thing went. Right. Here, we are asked to refer to another letter, number 125, where DK, Jwalakul, addresses a letter to Epicinet and Evo Hume. He has addressed this letter to both, letter number 125, and that talks about 3 passwords. 3 passwords. That was the reference of that letter 125. So we're also asked to refer to letter number 96, which Master M has written. And if one remembers, Master M wanted to train one Mr. William Eglinton. He perhaps took him as a person to be observed, to be kept on the path of probation, etc., because he found, though he was from the school of the spiritualists, and he found him to be someone who would perhaps be of help to the Theosophical Society. So he took up training W.E. Eglinton. But this gentleman, Eglinton, did help Master M in many ways, but he perhaps did not inspire so much of confidence in Master K.H. This is the information about Eglinton. And the work of the Theosophical Society was supposed to help masters, and it looks like he was kept on probation or one stage prior to probation. So this is how the information is about Eglinton. So W.E., we'll refer to him as W.E. in future. Later on, we are told he did not live up to the expectations of Master M, and he was dropped. He was not taken further, or he was not shown the path further to travel and become a chela. So that is what happened to Mr. Eglinton. So Master M once observed Eglinton forging the signature and handwriting of Madame Blavatsky. Master M has seen Eglinton and another person who is supposed to be his bodyguard or somebody like that. They both forged together. They forged the signature of Madame Blavatsky and also the handwriting of Madame Blavatsky. So this is something which M was quite concerned with. So they, Masters M and Master KH, decided these mediums should not be trusted so much, and they took Eglinton into their fold, but then after seeing that the forgery is taking place, they decide that no further confidence can be kept on these people, on these mediums, and they can impersonate even the masters, and are capable of forging their signatures and their writing. This is what they were apprehensive about. So he gave also instructions saying the passwords should be accompanying or preceding the message proper or the letter proper. This is what Master M had mentioned in the letter number 96. We know how Dukpa sometimes wear the form of masters and create an image in the people who are anxious to see the master, anxious to see the physical form of a master. And so these Dukpas also lead them away. So like this, these mediums also have played their part in impersonating the work of the masters or work of someone like Madame Blavatsky. So the instructions to Epicinet and Evo Hume were, unless the messages or communications are preceded by 3 passwords, they, meaning Sinnett and Hume, should not treat them as genuine. So they should not treat those messages which are not accompanied by these passwords as genuine, and they should also think that these messages are not written by them, especially when the passwords are not mentioned in that message. So these passwords, we are told, are 3, which is given in this letter: kin, t, an, kintan, kin hyphen t hyphen an, na hyphen la plus da, and dha hyphen ra hyphen ni. The last 2 we are able to understand, Nalanda and Dharani. But Kintan is perhaps a word which is there in Tibetan phraseology. So these passwords were used by masters so that the recipients of the letter should only take that message which are accompanied by or preceded by these passwords are genuine passwords, and they should wait and not believe anything which comes other than letters which are preceded by these passwords. This is the whole communication which is there in letter number 92, the postscriptum, which is in red ink. And we have seen what that letter 92, these are all small letters. 92 is a small letter. As I told you, it's a postscriptum of another letter. So we are told that the caution has been prescribed by the masters, and they say unless the passwords are there, you should not take those messages as genuine. This is what the content of that letter number 92 is all about. Right. Then we'll go to letter number 72. We'll go to letter number 72. This is letter number 72 written in November, and this 92 perhaps was written in October. So that's another reason why I picked up October and then November. Letter number 72. I'm going perhaps 92 to 72 to 70 and then 78. This is how I have chosen the letters which I would consider and place before you the contents. This letter was written during the early November 1882. This is what again, the book on which I depend quite a lot says. This letter was written during the early part of November of 1882. Incidentally, I have met Mr. Linton, who was perhaps guiding or supervising the maintenance departments of the Theosophical Society, especially the construction of buildings, the Vasanta Press building, the old Vasanta Press building, which is now not being that useful in Besant Gardens, and the TPH building, and so many other buildings were being constructed or under his supervision. So he used to be very active at Adyar, and one of my friend, in fact, much senior to my age, but then he was assisting him. So we used to meet Mr. Linton quite frequently, and he used to talk a lot of stories related to the letters from the masters. And there was another individual who was very, very interested, and two of us used to have this sort of program. I would cover letter number 72. He would also cover letter number 72. We'll discuss at the weekend. But what we read at that point of time and what we understood at that point of time is one thing, and what we now understand at this juncture is a different thing. So we are now going to consider 72, and APS was in Allahabad, and this is written by Master KH to AP Senate. It's a heavy note paper, about 4 inches to 5 inches, a single sheet. And this letter talks about Mohini Chatterjee, who was a chela of the masters. MMC is the abbreviation given in the letters. MMC, Mohini Chatterjee. And even Mohini Chatterjee parted ways. If you see the future history of the Theosophical Society, he did not walk along with the work the masters were doing for the Theosophical Society. This is just information, by the way. But then we are talking about introducing Mohini Chatterjee, MMC. Master is trying to introduce Mr. Mohini Chatterjee to Mr. AP Senate in particular. And Mr. MMC was supposed to call on and meet Mr. AP Senate and discuss certain issues which are of serious and paramount importance as far as the work of the lodges is concerned in the Theosophical Society. So that was the work assigned to Mr. MMC, and MMC was accompanied by another person who is called the Little Doctor. The personality, who that person is, we're not able to exactly put our fingers and say who that man was. Even the authors of the guide to the letters from the Masters of Wisdom also have left it like that. They said it is not quite clear as to who that little doctor is. Right. The purpose of the letter is to introduce Mr. MMC, Mohini Chatterjee, to Mr. Senate, and Mr. Chatterjee and the other gentlemen would perhaps hold discussions and parleys to find out how the work in the Theosophical Society, lodges especially, has to be done. And this is the purpose for which MMC had traveled to Allahabad. And obviously, there are some problems in the work of the Prayaga Lodge, as it was called, the Prayaga Lodge, the Allahabad Lodge. And we are also asked to show our understanding of letter number 117, says the guide. And Master KH writes to Mr. APS, Master KH writes to AP Senate and says, Chela Mohini Chatterjee. He's already become a Chela, and so he says Chela Mohini Chatterjee, and the other person referred to as Little Doctor, as we discussed some time back, will arrive at your place, and explain the purpose of their visit to you. Master KH feels this meeting is of a very serious nature, and the conference is called by the master, and it is found absolutely necessary. So the meeting has been organized, or the conference has been organized. Conference between these three. The same points which AP Senate raised in the past are surfacing again. Master AP Senate talked about how the meetings were conducted in the London Lodge of Theosophists and things like that. So these were items which are there already. So AP Senate raised the past questions in his communications to the masters. The same points are coming to the surface again, says the book. Master KH refers to an earlier letter where Master talks about their non-interference. Masters say we don't interfere on day-to-day basis. We don't interfere on day-to-day basis. We have that attitude of non-interference and offer no guidance even to advanced chelas. They are left to do the work on their own. They should be able to tread on the path. And so we don't give day-to-day guidance. We don't have that handheld approach. We don't have that. So this is what he is trying to tell. So non-interference and no guidance even to the advanced chelas. This is the information which we have. And maybe this information is good for us because we should know that we have to keep working, that's all. And whatever help that is required or that is earned by us will come. So even Master says, even advanced chelas are not given any guidance. And the chelas will realize the work which they have done and the results which they're experiencing. So they're able to evaluate and they should learn, they should move forward. That is all. They don't say, you have done this work, you should not have done this way. They will not come and interfere in the day-to-day work. So the chelas are supposed to realize the work which they have done, the results which they have plowed or earned. This method of non-interference, not offering guidance, will make the chelas or make the sadhakas to learn through their own personal experiences, and chelas will become better through their own experiences and learning. So it is self-learning which is expected. It is not somebody teaching something and you simply believe that you have understood it. It is everything on one's own. This is something which we need to keep in mind. Master KH is referring to the first 7 years of existence. This is something which masters are very, very keen. What will happen at the end of the 7th year of the inception of the Theosophical Society? So they always wanted to see how the 7 years would move, or what will happen to the Theosophical Society, whether there is public acceptance to the whole thing, because the society was not talking in terms of one particular religion, and so the masters were quite anxious to know what will happen at the end of the, not anxious, perhaps that's not the wrong word, because they're not anxious anyway, anytime. Master KH is referring to the first 7 years of the existence of the Theosophical Society, that is from 1875 to 1882. Before that cycle or that period of 7 year ends, this is what the masters want. All misconceptions in the minds of the members of Prayaga Lodge should be swept away. So for that, these two people are going to make them understand what exactly they're supposed to do. Before the cycle of 7 years ends, all misconceptions in the minds of the members of the Prayaga Lodge, the Allahabad Lodge, should be swept away. This is the wish of the masters. And to use the expression of the master, Master KH says that he is relying on Mr. A.P. Sinnett for clearing all the misconceptions in the hearts of members. So he wants Sinnett to play a major role. Sinnett should understand what exactly he is supposed to do and should play a major role in seeing that all the misconceptions which are there in the members' understanding of Theosophical Society and its work should be swept away or removed. Master says the members of the Prayaga Lodge are quite a troublesome lot. He is talking about the old set of people who are there. Master says that means he is aware of what's happening in the lodge, Prayaga Lodge, wherever it is in Allahabad, and where the master is, we know wherever he is in Tibet or some other place. He seems to be knowing what is happening in the lodge meetings at Prayaga Lodge. So he says they are quite a troublesome lot. The members are quite a troublesome lot. Master singles out one person by name Aditya Ram, who is overbearing and influences the thinking of the other members. So this is something which they have commented in the letter, Aditya Ram. And Nobody should influence others as to how they should think. But this Adicharam was doing it. So this is what Master is drawing the attention of AP Senate. And Master says Senate was over enthusiastic in the lodge meetings. See, this is one thing which we have to understand. We think that we are just 7 of us meeting or 3 of us meeting the lodge meeting, but that somebody else is overseeing the whole thing. So Mr. AP Senate was over enthusiastic, says the master, to drive his point. What is the point? Master says AP Senate carelessly during lodge meeting or during deliberations of the lodge meeting, imprudently, not exercising prudence, mix the topic of occultism with the topic of universal brotherhood. This is the observation of the master. The AP Senate imprudently mixed the topic of occultism with the topic of universal brotherhood. What AP Senate and the members of the Prayaga Lodge of Allahabad should do is to overcome the serious issues that are surfacing, and these 2 visitors would help seeing what exactly should happen, to see what exactly should happen. Mohini Chatterjee and his friend. So they will perhaps discuss with Senate as to how they should go about and conduct their lodge meetings. And they should find a way out. They should find a way out finally and do the needful. This is what the master said. So we need to observe and learn how masters saw what was happening in Prayag Lodge. The masters also saw what happened in the London Lodge of Theosophists. How we should strive for togetherness at all levels while attending to lodge meetings, while attending lodge work and lodge meetings. This is how we have to do is indicated. We should not become overbearing. We should not influence others' opinions. We should not mix issues. We should be clear in our thinking. All these things are suggestions are given. So we should not become Adityarams. We should not become Adityarams in our lodge. We should work, study, meditate, and participate in the meetings of the lodge as a person who will work like a lubricant which aids functioning in the machine. The member should work like a lubricant in the Theosophical Lodge, facilitating good work, cohesive work. If you have disagreement with someone, another member, that disagreement should be left outside the door of the lodge. Lodge is a yagashala, a place where you perform yagna, where we work together to achieve oneness through togetherness and cohesiveness. We should have tremendous respect for the work which we should take up in the Theosophical Lodge. There is no casual approach. There is always a cautious approach which is expected of members. Master KH is referring to all this so that we should conduct even now, even today, as to how we should do our lodge meetings. So this is letter number, second letter which I have covered. And now I go to letter number 70. Letter number 70, which is again letter number 70, which has been written in December. This small letter again is addressed by Master KH to Mr. Senate. AP Senate was in Bombay, says the guidebook. And Mr. Senate was attending to the 7th annual Theosophical Convention that was held at Bombay, and he was presiding over it. This is another information which is given in the book. The 7th annual Theosophical Convention was held at Bombay, because Bombay was the headquarters then, and Mr. Senate was presiding over it, right? And it looks like AP Senate has raised the question in a previous communication with the masters, particularly with Mr. KH, as to when he will be accepted as a chela. and when his period of probation will end. So these are all things which are considered unnecessary by masters. We should do the work. We should not be anxious to find out when I'll get my probation, when my period of probation will be over, when I'll become a chela and all that. These things were there in the good old days, and Epicenet was anxious to become a chela. So he says, when my period of probation will end and when I shall be accepted as chela. That is one communication which I had sent to Mr. KH. In a subtle way, Master KH is saying that they, meaning masters, can refuse nobody if they have the eligibility to become a chela. They cannot refuse anybody or nobody if they have qualifications to become a chela. If the probationer was diligent, and good enough, sincere enough to graduate to the stage of chela, he will do. That means there is nothing which the masters will do, or masters will not stop anybody, or will not force anybody, or what should I say, not force, not put them in such a stage where they would become chela quicker than when they should. This is what it meant. So Master KH did not answer to the messages which he received in the past and appeals of Mr. Epicenet as to when his period will be over. We have to realize the members of the hierarchy, the Great White Brotherhood, they watch all the members and all the probationers. They watch. So we may think that we are not being watched, but they know who needs attention. So they keep watching. Probationer might think that he is not getting his due attention or he is not marking his progress. It is not for him to decide whether he has progressed or not, but he has to complete the work. He has to carry on with the work. This is perhaps the message here. Probationer might think that he is not getting due attention, but the life of the probationer and the attitude and the discipline of the probationer is always in the knowledge of the masters. The life of the probationer, the attitude of the disciple or the probationer, and the life of the probationer, the attitude and discipline of the probationer is always in the knowledge of the masters. Masters watch how a probationer is facing the various tests that are coming in the probationer's way in his ordinary life. As he moves on in life, there are so many tests, and the masters see how this man is facing those tests and overcoming them. So that's how he is observed. Probationer need to work without much ado. Probationer need to work without much ado and work unselfishly, though humbly, living with all humility, without pride. This is very important. Without pride, without ambition, having tolerance and patience. This is what is expected of a chela or a probationer. He becomes a chela later. As a probationer, he should have all this. He should continue to do the work without much ado, work unselfishly, humbly, live with a lot of humility, live without pride, and live without ambition, and having tolerance and patience. And practice the virtues, says the book, practice the virtues which have become his second nature. The virtues have become his second nature. He is not very practicing those virtues like somebody learns swimming. The virtues have become very, very natural to him. So that's how the virtues have to play a role, or the probationer has to keep moving with the virtues in his life. To the question, Epicenet, as to when my probation period will be over, the reply of the master is not yet. So it's not over as yet. So at present, you're still on probation. That's the message which he got, meaning the probationary period is not over. So KH says very clearly, your probation is not ended, so you have to keep working. KH advises AP Senate to be patient for some more time and work for the Theosophical Society in all possible ways. And you should work on the path, and that was suggested to him, or that was open to him, and that path suggested is lying plainly before him and Mr. Senate. Before Senate, says Master KH. The path which Mr. Senate should take is appearing before him, plainly appearing before him, says Master KH. Master also advises the easier path, which will be a longer path. The easier path, which will be a longer path, will appear before you in the distant future, not immediately, that too. That will appear to Mr. Senate in the distant future. So conveying, you keep working with patience, keep working with a lot of diligence. And the advice is, in the spiritual journey, one comes across a steeper, tougher path and an easy, longer path. Again, it depends on the inner preparation as to which path one chooses. So I guess there is a message for all the aspirants and sadhakas. If it is summarized, it says one has to do the work and tread the path very humbly, patiently, waiting. If the message is going to come his way, waiting for the message, but you should not be over anxious to receive the message. The work to be done, or even if the position is given, or position is reached or attained, or is appointed to a position, place of importance, that should make the aspirant all the more humble, all the more humble. Even if we feel no one is observing, normally when we get a post or a position, maybe something gets into us, maybe we sometimes tend to misbehave. So he says, even if we feel no one is observing our life, the aspirant's life, he should do the work sincerely, as if someone is supervising his work day in and day out, minute by minute. The aspirant's duty is to work. Whatever role we play, we should live the life with humility, patience, and have sincerity of purpose. And that work will pave the way to divinity, especially when pride is absent. When pride is absent in the life of the aspirant. This is letter number 70. This is letter number 70. And I have one more letter. How much time I have? I don't know. This is a longish letter. I don't know whether I'll have time enough to complete this letter. Letter number 78, which is in a way a letter which Master has written, KH has written to APS. This is in December 1882. Do I have time, Shikharji, or it's over? I can take it to the next meeting also.
Oh, yeah, we have still, okay, 20 minutes, but we'll have to have Hindi also. How long do you think this letter may take?
No, this is a longish letter, so I would assume that I should take it next class if that is.
Okay.
Because I think I have taken about 40 minutes now.
Yes, 40 minutes. Yes, sir.
40 minutes. Can I take 5 more minutes?
Yeah, sure. Please.
5 more minutes. I'll just introduce this letter and discuss the contents later.
Okay.
This letter number 78, this letter is written by KH to AP Master KH to AP Senate, written in December 1882. Master KH has written this letter on 4 sheets of smooth paper, which was light in weight, and paper was of pink color. All these are things which they have observed, these writers to the guide have observed in the museum, and they have produced this information for us. So we can even imagine how that paper would look like and what size of paper and all that. Letter was written on the both sides of the paper. 8 sides. That means a long letter, fairly long letter, 8 sides of written matter. The circumstances, as explained by the guidebook, says the new headquarters for the Theosophical Society was already purchased by Mr. Colonel Alcott and Madam Blavatsky, and both Madam Blavatsky and Alcott were preparing to move from Bombay to Adyar. This was the background. And APS Senate was there at Allahabad at that point of time. Mr. Senate was by then had received a notice from the management of the newspaper of which he was the editor, the Pioneer, as it was called, the paper. He has received a notice from the management saying that his editorship would perhaps will end in another period of, say, 10 months or 11 months. So it's likely that the period will be, the editorship will be terminated. That's the message he got. At that juncture, this letter has come to him. And he has also asked certain information from Mahachohan, leave alone masters not interfering in day-to-day work, but he wanted Mahachohan to look into the future, perhaps how, if he starts a newspaper, if a new newspaper, a journal, how it would work. So KH very clearly says Mahachohan will not involve in any of these earthly activities. Even masters don't, by principle, they will not interfere, but Mahachohan to interfere is asking for too much. So this is how Mr. Senate wanted something like a Bhavishyavani for him to know whether he can start one more newspaper, because his editorship of Pioneer is coming to an end. Not immediately, but there is about 11 months time or 12 months time before that editorship will come to an end. The management has changed, the Pioneer management has changed, and he was appointed by the previous management, and this management perhaps was not wanting to have him for two reasons. One, they were not quite happy with the involvement of Mr. Senate with the Theosophical Society and its work, and the way Senate played a major role along with the Theosophists of Simla, Allahabad, and London. So they didn't want that to be the role of a editor of the magazine Pioneer. So they gave a notice asking him perhaps he should lay down his papers or lay down his office. So this is at this juncture, Mr. AP Senate was at Allahabad. So this is the information we have. And I guess I'll go into the details of the letter later on, maybe next session when I get in 22nd or so, if I remember the communication of Mr. Mahapatra. Over to you, Shikhar.
Thank you, Brother N C Krishna, for sharing with us the very valuable points from those letters. And since you talked about Allahabad while ending your giving a reference to the next letter, so today with us we have Dr. Sushma Srivastavji from Allahabad, who will be giving us the Hindi translation of what we have just heard from Brother N C Krishna ji. Everybody is also very familiar with Sushma ji till for quite some times with her voice, but now we are also lucky to see her through video, and she has been a national lecturer before. She is a professor in the degree college in Allahabad, और मैं उनसे रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि वो जो हम लोगों ने अभी पढ़ा है उसका हिंदी ट्रांसलेशन हम सभी के साथ शेयर करें. ओवर टू यू सुषमा जी.
धन्यवाद ब्रदर एन सी कृष्णा जी, ब्रदर शिखर जी. ये पत्र जो आज एन सी कृष्णा जी ने प्रस्तुत किया है उसका हिंदी ट्रांसलेशन मीनाक्षी जी ने किया है और मेरे पास प्रेषित किया है. मैं उसको खाली प्रस्तुत कर रही हूँ. मैंने कुछ ही शायद 1-2 पत्र जो बहुत छोटे थे उनको ट्रांसलेशन करने की कोशिश की है. तो इस पत्र में ये लेटर नंबर 94 है, क्रोनोलॉजिकल लेटर नंबर. इसमें मास्टर कहते हैं कि मेरा यह पत्र ले चेला 2 का परिचय यानी मोहनी बाबू का परिचय मेरे ले चेला 1 से कराएगा। उसके बाद जो उन्हें अनुभव होगा उससे श्री सेनेट के मन में एक रुचि पैदा होगी। मास्टर कहते हैं, मैंने मोहनी बाबू को थियोसॉफिकल सोसाइटी के चक्र यानी 7 वर्ष के काल के कुछ आगामी अनिष्टकारी भयंकर संकेतों को देखते हुए उसके संदर्भ में एक मिशन पर भेजा है। अब हम समय नहीं गंवा सकते, अतः उनसे मिलकर शीघ्र ही साक्ष्यों को प्राप्त करें। लेटर नंबर 95 महात्मा KH श्री एपी सेनेट को लिखते हैं नवंबर 1882 में। मास्टर कहते हैं, मेरे अच्छे बंधु छोटे डॉक्टर और मेरे शिष्य मोहनी आपसे भेंट करने के उद्देश्य के बारे में बताएंगे और एक गंभीर विचार विमर्श करेंगे। जो मुझे आवश्यक लगता है उसके बारे में वो आपको बताएंगे। मास्टर कहते हैं कि पिछले वर्ष के आक्षेप भी धीरे धीरे सामने आ रहे हैं। मैंने अपने एक पूर्व में लिखे पत्र में समझाया था कि हम अपने चेलाओं को जो सबसे उन्नत स्थिति में है उनका भी कभी मार्गदर्शन क्यों नहीं करते और न ही हम उन्हें सचेत करते हैं। हम उन्हें उनके कार्यों द्वारा उत्पन्न कारणों के प्रभाव को समझने एवं उससे बेहतर अनुभव प्राप्त करने के लिए छोड़ देते हैं। कृपया इस विशेष पत्र को ध्यान में रखें। TS के प्रोबेशन काल के चक्र के समाप्त होने के पहले सभी गलतफहमियां दूर हो जानी चाहिए। प्रयाग के सदस्यों के मन में सभी भ्रांतियों को पूर्णतः साफ करने के लिए मैं आप पर भरोसा करता हूं। वे सब बहुत परेशान करने वाले हैं और विशेषकर आदित्यनाथ। लेकिन वो फिर कहते हैं, लेकिन कल आप गो विद्या के प्रसार एवं चमत्कारी घटनाओं के प्रति अपने उत्साह के कारण कुछ ज्यादा ही बहक गए थे और नासमझी से उसे विश्व बंधुत्व के साथ मिला दिया था। ये सब बातें आपको समझनी होंगी। लेटर नंबर 96। इस पत्र में मास्टर भविष्य में घटित होने वाली आकांक्षाओं के प्रति सचेत करते हैं। वह कहते हैं कि ऐसा हो सकता है कि अपने स्वयं के प्रयोजन के लिए माध्यमों यानी मीडियम्स और जासूसों को न केवल छद्म रूप धारण करने के लिए अपितु हमारी लिखावट यानी राइटिंग की नकल बनाने के लिए भी उनको अबाधित छोड़ दिया जा सकता है। इस संदर्भ में मास्टर कहते हैं, सावधान रहें। मास्टर उन्हें सचेत करते हुए कहते हैं कि जब तक संदेश पत्र में पहले ये 3 शब्द ना हो, जैसे क्यू डैश ता डैश अन यानी कुतुमी, दूसरा ना डैश लान डैश दा यानी नालंदा और तीसरा है धारानी, तो समझ लेना यदि ये 3 शब्द ना हो तो ये संदेश मेरा नहीं है। मास्टर KH 97 लेटर है, क्रोनोलॉजिकल लेटर नंबर 97। मास्टर कहते हैं कि मेरे मित्र, अब आप समझ ही गए होंगे कि मैं आपकी विनती की उपेक्षा नहीं कर रहा था। जैसा कि आप और मैं दोनों चाहते हैं कि हमारे बीच में विरल होते हुए पर्दे यानी जो जीना हो रहा है पर्दा, दूरी कम हो रही है, उसे हटाकर उत्तर दिया जाए, लेकिन मैं ऐसा करने में असमर्थ हूं। अब आपका मुझसे प्रश्न होगा कि कब यह समय आएगा, तो मैं कहूंगा मेरा उत्तर यही होगा कि अभी नहीं, आप थोड़ा धीरज रखें। अभी आपका परीक्षण काल है, समाप्त नहीं हुआ। आप वह पथ जानते हैं जिस मार्ग पर आपको क्रमण करना है यानी चलना है। अभी तो यह पथ आपके सामने स्पष्ट रूप से है, लेकिन आने वाले समय में यह आसान हो सकता है किंतु बहुत लंबा मार्ग भी हो सकता है। वो फिर कहते हैं, अलविदा मेरे भाई, आपके साथ मेरी सदा सहानुभूति रहेगी। ऐसा कहकर मास्टर पत्र समाप्त करते हैं। अब लेटर नंबर 98 जो अभी सर ने कहा कि थोड़ा सा लंबा है, यह पत्र सीनेट द्वारा मास्टर KH को लिखित पत्र के उत्तर में है, जिसमें सीनेट ने मास्टर को अपने भविष्य की एक ऐसी घटना के बारे में बताया जिसका नतीजा बहुत बड़ा होना था। सीनेट ने जब अपनी पहली किताब द ऑकल्ट वर्ल्ड प्रकाशित की तो उसके बाद एंग्लो इंडियन समुदाय ने उनसे नाराजगी जताई। और द पायनियर के मालिकों ने उनसे दूरी बना ली, जिसके वे एडिटर थे। और लेकिन बाद में जो रेटिगर नामक एक अंग्रेज थे, उस अखबार के आखिर मालिक बने। सीनेट के प्रति उनकी सहानुभूति और भी कम थी। अतः 1882 के नवंबर में इस प्रसिद्ध समाचार पत्र के संपादक के रूप में उन्हें हटाने की नोटिस दी गई। हालांकि यह 1 वर्ष के लिए प्रभावी नहीं था। संभवतः उन्होंने मास्टर केच को इस बारे में लिखा था और आपस में ये बात की थी कि भारत के पॉलिटिकल फ्रीडम को बढ़ावा देने के लिए एक अन्य समाचार पत्र का प्रारंभ करने का सुझाव दिया था। इस तरह फोनिक्स वेंचर का शुरू होना था। और इसके बाद उन्होंने एक अनप्लेजेंट प्रोसीडिंग की बात की, और उसका अर्थ है कि शिमला इलेक्ट्रिक थियोसॉफिकल सोसाइटी की मीटिंग से है, जब मैडम एचपीबी और सीनेट ने 1881 में एसके चैटर्जी नामक व्यक्ति के पत्र पर विचार करने के लिए मिस्टर ह्यूम के घर में मिले, और वह पत्र ह्यूम को संबोधित था, जिसमें थियोसॉफी और एचपीबी के बारे में अपमानजनक टिप्पणियां की थी। संभवतः ह्यूम ने यह पत्र मास्टर केच को पढ़ने के लिए भेजा, जिन्होंने एचपीबी के माध्यम से पत्र को वापस कर दिया। पत्र को ह्यूम को लौटाते हुए उन्होंने कहा कि मास्टर ने उनसे यह कहने के लिए कहा है कि उनके माध्यम से जनरल काउंसिल को यह आदेश दिया है कि मिस्टर चैटर्जी को इस्तीफा देने के लिए कहा जाए। ह्यूम इसे प्राइवेट लेटर मानते थे। उसका इस तरह से व्यवहार उन्हें पसंद नहीं आया। सर ने एनसी कृष्णा सर ने यहीं तक प्रस्तुत किया था, अतः मैं यहाँ समाप्त करती हूँ। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, Sushma ji. So we had just studied the letters by Brother N.C. Krishna, who has presented, and any of our delegates who want to share something, or if they have any queries, please, you can either raise your hand or you can write in the text box, and we can take that question up. And Brother N.C. Krishna is also here, or Sushma ji can take up the question. If anyone is, or if you want to add anything, you are most welcome. Just raise your hand and I will invite you to join. And in the meantime, if you are still contemplating on what has been discussed, I think really Mahatma Letters is a text that is really amazing, in the sense that it not just only gave us some idea of the technical theosophy, which we read about planes, consciousness, life after death, but also the so much deep understanding of human nature, and how the masters know the next 10 steps of a person from just observing the first step. And even in these letters, what we saw, that they are sharing the password, that for the letter to be really from them, because it gives us a sense, and it has been already studied in some other letters, that some of the people were forging the letters either in the handwriting of HPB or someone else, to give a wrong impression, or to create a false image in front of people. So with this password, if the letter is without the password, it means it is to be considered not directly from the master. And again, I think in these letters that Brother N C Krishna have shared, it is, I think, reminded to all of us something which we very often forget. At least I know I can talk about myself, that someone, especially if you are on this path, that you are being watched or observed, you know, by the masters, or at least someone, some higher power, and nothing is happening in life fortuitously or at random or coincidentally, but whatever sankalps and will and desire or aspirations are happening in the mind, the situations around us are created from that, and the reaction to those situations is being observed also, especially the people, as it was mentioned in the letter, that members and probationers, their life and attitude of a probationer is in the knowledge of the master. So we may think that nobody is watching us, or the world is not watching us, but even in those times, as we studied masters and the path, that the image of the disciple, or at least the person on probation, is made by the master, and whatever changes are happening in that are reflected in that image, and he immediately knows what is happening. And similarly, this also gives us the idea about the importance of the lodge meetings or any kind of such gathering that is taking place, that it is not just we are coming together and discussing something, having tea, snacks, and then going away. A very good description of it is given in that small booklet by C.W. Leadbeater, The Hidden Side of Lodge Meetings, in which he describes that what all occult things happen, apart from, of course, the thought power, the effects of the thought power, when the people come together, discuss, it creates a thought form and thought vibration which affects the people. But also, whenever this our prayer is chanted, immediately the attention of the masters or the elder brothers, it is it comes towards that gathering, and it uplifts us, everyone. So that, I think, is a very big takeaway from these letters today that we have studied. And if any one of you, if you want to share something or something that you think you can take away from this session, please, if you want to share for the benefit of others, or if you have any questions, Brother N C Krishna is here. We can take up the questions. So I think, okay, we have brother Jitendra Sampat. Thank you, N C Krishna ji, for an informative session. Thank you, Sushma ji, for the translation. Thank you for your inputs. And this is from Brother Firoz, Zinu Master and Firoza Master ji. From Brother Jitendra Sampat, Namaste. My chat is not related to the letters which were read. Thought came to me that could the Executive TS Council could request for all the letters lying at London Museum could be transferred to Adyar. Okay, I think this has a lot of legal aspects, so I think Brother N C Krishna is a good person to reply to this. You can unmute yourself, sir. Krishna ji, you can unmute.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. They're in the British Museum for quite some time, and I don't think we'll be able to. Maybe we can copy them. We can take facsimile and things like that, but originals we can't move them from the museum. That's what we were told, because one of my friend who went and examined the originals, he was allowed to copy or take photographs and things like that, but he was not allowed to say that, can we take it back to our country? It doesn't belong to any country, I guess. It belongs to the Theosophical Society as such. And I don't think we'll be able to get it back to Adyar unless the British government thinks, yes, they can part with it.
This is what I'm just saying. At times, J. Jindardas, was requesting for something and he was given. So unless we talk, because the person who went to London Museum, when he asked, he was allowed to only take the copy or photograph of some of the letters.
Yes.
But if he
Yes.
comes from the council, our head from the executive, which is there, now Tim Boyd has done the renovations of the idea, and this is another step. He can look at it, request the British government that we have a library, we have now expertise of maintaining these letters. We can do the touch up, and the new department which has been created, we look after it, and the idea is a home of the masters. Could we are requesting if it's possible. That's all.
Yeah. Maybe we can try. We can try. Nothing.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah. We can try. We can try.
Yeah. Yeah. And, can always give it a try, but whatever is the result, we can see. So thank you for that suggestion, Dr. Jitendra-ji, and I think no more questions or comments. So I think we will proceed with the closing of today's session. And I would like to thank Brother N C KRISHNA-ji for sharing with us the Mahatma letters, and Dr. Sushma Srivastava-ji for sharing with us in Hindi, and all the delegates who took time off to attend today's session. And let us all come together again, and we pray for the welfare of the whole manifestation. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhave. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you everyone once again, and see you next time. Have a good weekend. Happy weekend. Namaste.